Let's get into some Baseball chat. Let's do it. It's the here and now. Let's see what goes down while chat continues to be absolutely ridiculous. Both in chat and in Baseball, because chat's team has made the playoffs for the third year in a row. And it'll be an all-Canadian matchup against the Toronto Blue Jays in the wild card round. Of course, my mermen didn't make it. We could not, breach the depths and other nautical puns and play on words. But chat's team made it, and it's time to take a look not only at the season that was, the team as it is. I don't know if we actually still have the stats, and we do. And then to see what happens and if this is the final run for the Vancouver A's. In terms of the starting pitching, Yuri Perez, team high 17 wins. But Richie Christensen, who won the Cy Young, was fantastic. And honestly, looking at those numbers, I mean, after Richie, it's still Richie, Jim David, and Yuri Perez. Can you trust anybody beyond that? Should you need to, is the question. But they are still, without a doubt, the big three on the team. Looks like someone like Juan Baroa was let down by the defense quite a bit, too. All of them were actually let down by the defense quite a bit. So your team was ranked 30th in defense, so I guess it makes some sense. In terms of the relief pitching, we might have to do some different call-ups here. None of those guys pitched. I think it sent down some of the starters. But yeah, Gregory Santos, 35 innings pitched. Then Derek Hope was an all-star again this year. And Pedro Ruiz were both pretty damn good. At catcher, 21 home runs, 62 RBI for William Dalton. He is definitely the starter over Tyrone Ray. Like, Dalton is the guy at the moment for you heading into the playoffs. First base, it's probably his last year here with you guys, but nearly another MVP caliber season for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Worth noting that Luis Toribio, who was a midseason acquisition as well through a trade, had a great season as a depth option, so that worked out really well. Second base, Gavin Lux, also probably his final season here, but again, he was really good. Third base, Aiden Miller was the big free agent signing last year. He was also really good. I mean, certainly an improvement on Slaughter not only this year, but what Slaughter had been doing in prior years. Shortstop, Robert Spasato. Okay. An okay year. He's had better seasons than that. But he also has proven to be a playoff performer. In left, Spencer Steer did have a pretty good season, as did Luis Guanipa in limited playing time. Steer now down to an 85, so I mean his time's coming up. Ceddanne Rafaela, Floyd Horton, 102 RBI for Rafaela. He had a great year at the plate, and he's a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Juan Soto had a pretty good year, man. 28 home runs, 105 RBI. Can he redeem himself? It's the redeem team this year for the Athletics. So I'll have to make sure that playoff roster set up appropriately. 3 games against the Blue Jays. As that is set up well. Toribio's on the playoff roster. Lux, Miller, and Slaughter's good. Spasato, you don't necessarily need Naylor. Steer and Guanipa, Rafaela, Horton, Soto. Pitching is Elise. Ramirez was on the Major League roster this year. He wasn't great. But let's see who else could potentially be on this playoff roster, your best performers as pitchers. And take it from there. There's a lot of potential options for this playoff roster. So we'll see who actually deserves it. Same for the starters. Clyde Floyd, Matt Harmon definitely got sent down. He was on the majors this year, and then Juan Barreau is already there. All right, so let's see who the best pitchers were. Francis Menard actually didn't get to pitch at all this year, so Derek Hope had a good year. Kerry Gamble wasn't so hot. He had a pretty rough year. Ramirez also wasn't spectacular. Still very young, though. Pedro Eliz was great. So, I mean, Gamble and Ramirez, you could probably look at dropping unless, there needs to be somebody else. Could easily give Menard a chance. In terms of everybody else, Peter Otto didn't pitch in the majors this year. Ahmad Munoz didn't pitch in the majors this year. Hello, Crash Andrews. I guess chat doesn't like you. I don't know. Morion didn't pitch in the majors this year. Nor did Ray Gutierrez. That's right. It was mostly starters. And then Dominic Hughes can go down. How was Pedro Ponce? He also didn't pitch in the majors this year. And then Santos was also kind of mid. How are those starters looking? Baroa was okay. Harmon was okay. None of the pitchers were particularly bad. Honestly, that's probably good to go. Ponce on the roster instead of Ramirez or Gamble, who struggled. I think you're good to go. That is one hell of a team. Let's take a look at the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll get that prediction rolling. Easy for me to say. And we'll see what happens in this best of three against the Blue Jays, who look like this. Pretty good starting pitching. Benito Huerta, Tino Colon, Diego Espinosa's in AAA, but they do have Dustin May, Jesus Luzardo. Strong rotation options. Bullpen leaves a little bit to be desired. A little bit. It's not horrible. They make up for it in the back half, especially with Andres Munoz. Catcher, Endy Rodriguez. Great defensive option. First base, Rich German. Probably Rich Herman. Yeah, he's out of Panama, but good old Rich German. Second base is Brooks Baldwin. Third base, Aurelvis Martinez, Kazuhito Yamazaki. I'd love to be able to sign at some point. That's not going to happen. Martinez is phenomenal. Shortstop, Sadale Amador. And Geraldo Perdomo is probably going to miss this series. Left field, Todd Schwartz, who's not particularly great. Center field, Brendan Davis. And in right, Greg McKnight and Jeff Edwards. Well, chat, I hate to say it because I'll always get accused of the jinx. However, Cynical just said it too. It is a very, very winnable series for you guys. Game number 1. Will the third time be the charm for chat in the playoffs after losing in the World Series last year, Game 7? Can they work their way back? Do you want Christensen, Perez, or David? Again, Christensen was your best starter last year in the playoffs. He won the Cy Young this year. Is it Richie Christensen? Or do you go with somebody else? A shout for Yuri Perez. Who do you guys give the ball to? Going once on Richie Christensen. Going twice. And sold. Richie Christensen gets the start. Lineup-wise, just leave it as is and see where it goes from here. Game number 1. A strong start for Richie. Solo shot for Vladdy. 1-0 Vancouver against the Blue Jays, who do tie it after a triple and a double to start off the inning. Richie's in a bit of trouble here. Richie's in a bit of trouble. Gets out of it, though. 1-1. Let's see. Blue Jays have forced him to throw a lot of pitches early on. Leadoff double for Miller. Chat, do you play small ball or do you swing away? What is the word? Do you play small ball or do you go for more? Small ball is the shout. Dalton bunts. Posada walks. Lux strikes out. Vladdy, and they can't deliver. They can't deliver. One out double for McKnight. Blue Jays take the lead. Schwartz with a 2-run shot. It's 3-1. Juan Soto has a base hit. Imagine that. Rafaela ties the game. 2-run home run of his own. 3-3. Spencer Steer goes back-to-back. 4-3. Jesus. 4-3 through 4. Christensen. In a little bit of trouble. Gets out of it, though. Walk for Spasato. Lux goes down. Vladdy goes down. Chat, probably time to take Richie out. Probably. We could do the whole wait until he gets in a little bit more trouble deal, but in any case, who do you want? Should the time come, who do you want? Who takes over? Shouts for Floyd. Let's see, going once for Floyd. And twice. Sold. Clyde Floyd is in. That's a good half inning there, too. Let's see. Turning into a more pitching-oriented game. Single there for Davis. Amador down. McKnight down. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Walks with the walk. A single there. Soto down. Rafaela down. Do you stick with Clyde Floyd or bring in a closer? Top of the 9th and a chance to win game 1. What's the word? What's the decision in game 1 of this 3-game set? Shots for Santos and Alez. A shout for Hope. Another one for Alez, another one for Alez. Going once for Pedro. Going twice for Pedro. And a vote for Pedro. Ooh, last second vote for Hope. Keeps it alive. Who's it going to be? We need a decision to be made. Alez gets the win. 1 down, 2 down. Andy Rodriguez goes down, and Vancouver takes game 1, 4-3 here in the wild card round. Not bad. Not the best game for Christensen, but he does get the win. And Vancouver 1 win away from moving on to the ALDS for the 2nd year in a row. As we go to game number 2 immediately. It will be Yuri Perez that gets the start based off of what we heard before. And here we go, right into it. Game number 2 of this series. Blue Jays have to win or they go home. Andy Rodriguez is on. McKnight goes down. Baldwin down. Solo shot for Juan Soto. The redemption arc. A triple for Steer. Ray brings him in. Miller down. Rafaela singles, and that'll do it. 2-0. After 2. Is it the Juan Soto redemption arc? Flies out there. Steer loads the bases for Tyrone Ray, who hits a grand slam. Tyrone Ray puts Vancouver up 6-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd. The Blue Jay starter is out. Wow. Wow. This all-Canadian affair might not last too long. As they get one run on the board, make it 6-1. Vladdy the double. Juan Soto again. RBI double. It's 7-1. Now is probably a good time to take out Perez, or you could leave him in because he's doing well. Frank's on the side of taking Yuri out. What do you want to do? Harmon, Baroa. Harmon going once for Harmon. Going twice. And sold. 1, 2, 3 inning. Juanipa singles, Posado singles, Lux is out. Triple there for Rodriguez. He's brought in on a sac fly. Perez finally taken out. Still a 6-run lead. Can they make it more? Double play there. As a 2-out single for Edwards. Harmon continues to deal. Bottom of the 8th. You might as well leave Harmon in, right? I mean, it's not a save opportunity. You might as well just let him go. Maybe bring in somebody else. I mean, you've already seen what Eliz can do. But it's 3 more outs. If he gets in trouble, you could switch it up to somebody else. But Frank's calling for Ponce. I don't think that's a bad shout. A 5-run lead. He's going to stay. Martinez down. Amador on an error. Rodriguez down. Vancouver makes quick work of their cross-country rivals. They sweep the Blue Jays in 2 games. As Tyrone Ray had himself a hell of a day. 7-2, the final score. And it will be the Detroit Tigers in a best-of-5 in the next round. You also got the White Sox and Orioles, Phillies and Nats, Diamondbacks, and Pirates. So chat drawing the Tigers on this one. Again, Perez did well. Christensen, not as much, but a win's a win. Obviously, the fact you still have Jim David, who hasn't had the pitch yet this postseason, is great. It's only 2 games. Vladdy had a fun time. Juan Soto had a fun time. A couple of guys that didn't rack up any hits, but Vladdy and Soto carried. We're going to get right in to this next series against the Tigers. As we'll get a prediction up and see what the hell they look like. And it is some decent starting pitching. They do have some injuries, though. But Caballero, Carmen Pena, Jason Roberts leading the way. Bullpen, David Yu and Walburn. Pretty strong bullpen. Marcelo Sandoval. Corey Hurt didn't get called up. That's interesting. For the catchers, Moises Ballesteros or Ballesteros, whatever you prefer. Given he's from the Dominican, I imagine it would be at Ballesteros. Also got Joe Mack behind him. First base, Tom Whitaker. 85 overall. Second base, James Triantos and Colt Emerson. Damn. At third, Max Anderson and Luis Urias. Or as some prefer, Urias or Urias. Whatever you prefer. Felnin Celestin. And Sebastian Walcott, not to mention Alexander Vargas. They are, weak at left field, right? As I was about to say, better than the Blue Jays. Center field is Drew Jones and, Jesus Christ. This could be the biggest challenge you face en route to the title. Colby Thomason, right? That's a damn good team. That's a damn good team. Are they better than Vancouver, though? That is the question. Game number 1, best of 5. The ALDS Jim David gets the ball in game 1. Posado and Luck starting off strong. Vladdy makes it a quick 1-0 lead. Jim David playing with a lead in the 1-2-3 inning. Steer on first. Now Miller. Dalton can't do anything. Lead off single for Drew Jones. Ballesteros into a double play. Vladdy's on. Soto can't bring him home. Still that 1-0 lead. As David strikes out the side. Wow. Has been a strong pitching performance so far. Celestin with a leadoff double. Nobody can bring him in yet. Nobody could bring him in at all. Spasado's on. Lux can't do anything. David dealing. Gives up a triple, though. Urias can't do anything. Brennan can't do anything. Still 1-0 now through 5 in game 1. 2-out double for Jones. Whitaker can't bring him in. David continuing to deal. Bottom of the 7th. Leadoff single for Drew Jones. Ballesteros walks. A little bit of trouble for the former 2-time Cy Young winner. Double play ball gets him out of it. Tigers finally bring on a reliever. Shuts him down. Leadoff double for Brennan. David gives up the tying run. A tremendous pitching performance. But now is probably the time to take him out. He still has energy. He's had a great game. But the offense has absolutely failed a pitching performance like that. No doubt about it. Shouts for Santos and Hope. Who does Chat go for here? A shout for Santos, a shout for Pope, and another or Hope, I should say. And it's going once for Hope. Going twice. Sold. Hope is in. Celestin down. Spencer Jones singles. 2 on, 1 out for Whitaker, who delivers. The Tigers take the lead. Jones goes down. Triantos goes down. Top of the 9th. Vancouver needs 1 at the very least. Soto against David Yu. Lines out. Rafaela flies out. Spencer Steer. Gotta watch it. You get into a situation like that, you gotta see how it plays out. It's gotta be done. Down to their final out. Tying run on first. Go ahead run. Stepping up to the plate, Luis Toribio. Will there be some magic here against David Yu? That's a great first pitch from you in terms of just hitting that outside corner. Not his outer corner, but you know, the edge of the plate. Spencer Steer, now 35 years old, on first, the former MVP. Toribio quickly down to 2 strikes. And the Tigers secure game 1 in this best of 5.
Is just 1 strike away.
That one fouled off to the opposite side. Toribio stays alive. 0 for 3 in this game. You can't get him on the slider. Again, different reality. It wouldn't be facing David Yu had I taken him instead of that outfielder. And there it is. Game number 1 goes to the Tigers as Toribio strikes out looking. 1 down, 2 more to go for Detroit to move on to the ALCS. Vancouver loves a bit of adversity, though. We've seen it. Game 1 to the Tigers. Great performance for David. Absolute injustice that he gets charged with the loss. Like, technically, yes, he gets charged with the loss. That's a brutal result for him. He had a pretty damn good game. Just 1, technically 2 runs allowed up until the 8th inning because he was on, he was responsible for the run, that final run. But you get the point. You get the point. We go to game number 2. Vancouver looks to bounce back. Chat's Athletics trying To end this head-to-head challenge, Yuri Perez has a bit more energy than Richie Christensen. It's probably best to go for Yuri, is it not? Just because of the stamina edge. I mean, Yuri did have a better performance, although both of them won their game against the Blue Jays. And it looks like chat's going to go with Yuri. Okay. Lineup-wise, still too early to optimize? Do you want to leave it as is, or do you want to drop someone like Gavin Lux down the order? Rafaela hasn't done too much. Toribio doesn't have a hit yet. Dalton doesn't have a hit yet. The optimization approach led you guys to a World Series last year. What do you want to do? We got a call for optimize going once on the optimization option. Going twice. And sold. All right. So first things first, we will sort this out by average in the playoffs so far. The hot hands, of which Gavin Lux is not one of them. Spasato's still at 300. That's not that bad. Yeah, it makes sense to go Spasato. Probably Steer, then Vladdy, Soto, Miller. That's not too bad. So Toribio hasn't done anything yet. Based on who's there, tough to take out Lux or Rafaela, but I think Dalton and Toribio probably just go Tyrone Ray and Floyd Horton based off of what Horton did last year. Plus, he's a switch hitter, unlike Guanipa. Although Guanipa does have a hit. That's not too bad. Maybe keep Horton as that pinch runner for now. Both Guanipa and Ray are actually one of three in the playoffs so far. So that's not a bad way to go. Game number 2. Game number 2. Spasato on. Steer goes down. Vladdy singles. Ray goes down. Guanipa goes down. Let's see what Yuri Perez can bring this time out. Soto. Follow-up double play. Drew Jones is on. Triantos with a 2-run shot. And the Tigers take an early lead. Solo shot for Spasato. It's 2-1. Error leads to a base runner. 2 on, no outs for Detroit. Runner thrown out trying to go home. 3-run shot for Whitaker. It's 5-1. Not the performance from Yuri Perez that you needed to see. That's probably it. 5-1, 2 on, 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Do you take him out, or do you trust to get through the last little bit? Paulie, what's going on? I imagine tonight was a big night for you. Frank calling for Harmon. Hockey Kid calling for Avi England, who you might need in this series, but of course England and Elliott are down there. Once for Harmon, once for England. What do you want to do, Chad, at a big time like this? Going once for Harmon. And twice. Sold. Harmon is in. Conviction, what's up? Celestin, RBI single at 6-1. Jones brings in 2. 8-1 before Whitaker goes down. Trouble for the Athletics. Solo shot for Triantos. It's 9-1. Oof. A double for Urias. Brennan goes down. Back-to-back walks. Tyrone Ray with an RBI single. Guanipa with an RBI single. Soto loads the bases for Aiden Miller, who goes down. Gavin Lux now against DeAndre Spindler. Sack fly. Rafaela, it's 9-5. And Spasato goes down. 9-5. Do you leave Harmon in or sub him out now at this point? The lead down to 4. You just scored 4 runs in the top of the 6th. What do you think? You want Harmon out? Who do you want him out for? What do you think? A shout for Pedro Ponce. Going once for Pedro Ponce. Going twice. Sold. Pedro Ponce is in. 2 on, 2 outs for Drew Jones, who goes down. Steer is on. Vladdy into a double play. Not what you needed. More base runners for the Tigers. Trouble for Ponce. He can't get out of it. 10-5, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Do you stick with him or take him out? He's already a bit tired. But that's rough. The pitching staff just not there at the moment. We'll stick with them from the looks of it. Colby Thomas flies out. Celestin grounds out. To the 8th. Nothing doing. Ponce allows another base hit. You got to take him out now after getting the first two batters on base. Shout for Menard. 15 hits, 10 runs for Detroit in this game. Menard's going to be the guy here. We'll decide it early. Bases loaded for Moises Ballesteros. Fielder's choice. Urias. Fielder's choice. They need 5 runs. Lux is down. Rafaela singles. Sposato singles. Steer goes down. Vladdy against Manuel Ibar strikes out. The Detroit Tigers take a 2-0 series lead on the Vancouver Athletics in the ALDS. What a game for James Triantos. And as the series shifts to Vancouver, the Athletics have their backs against the wall. They have to win 3 games in a row, or their season ends in immense disappointment. Richie Christensen obviously gets the ball. We'll optimize the lineup again from there. I mean, it just makes sense. Based on how certain people are doing. Spencer Steer at a 250. Rafaela at a 250. Soto's up at a 313. Vladdy's at a 400. Gavin Lux, even though he had a good regular season, is finally looking a little bit cooked. And Robert Sposato's done well. So Sposato, Soto, Vladdy. Toribio could be out for Guanipa. There's really nobody to sub in for Gavin Lux. You'd have to change things around a little bit more. Well, there it is. I mean, Gavin Lux and Aiden Miller at the bottom of the order. Toribio taken out. Dalton taken out. They both had great regular seasons. Ice cold. We have a shortstop that can play second base. I mean, Sposato, yes. But Slaughter can't play anywhere else. Horton can only play the outfield. Yeah, it doesn't really work. The depth just isn't there in that regard. It is game number 3. The Cy Young winner, Richie Christensen, needs a hell of a performance today to keep the season alive. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Ceddanne Rafaela, who delivers, but a follow-up runner was thrown out. So it's 1-0 Vancouver. It was our backup first baseman. That was Toribio, who doesn't have a hit in 7 at-bats. Double for Miller. Lux goes down. Sposato makes it 2-0. Soto on. Vladdy, bases loaded, 2 outs. Tyrone Ray, who had a grand slam earlier in the series, couldn't do it again. First hit for the Tigers. You got nothing out of it. Leadoff double for Celestin. Tigers on the board. 2-1. Heading into the bottom of the fourth. Wow, Tigers starter already out. Leadoff double for Detroit. Thomas grounds out. Brennan ties the game at 2. Bottom of the fifth. Leadoff single for Ray. Nothing else. Christensen. Is now the time, chat. Christensen's getting tired. 2 on, 1 out. Is now the time to take Richie out. Rough situation here. Rough situation. A shout for Floyd. Again, we're in the bottom of the fifth. Must-win game. Going once for Floyd. Twice. Sold. Floyd is in. Walks Emerson to load the bases for Ballesteros, who clears the bases with a double. It's 5-2. Make it 6-2. A 4-run top of the sixth for the Tigers, as the pitching and really just the all-around game of the Athletics has yet to be seen. Do you stick with Floyd for this next at-bat or take him out? That's the question. It's been a rough go. Shout for Elez. Was very good in his previous appearance in the postseason. Going once. Twice. Sold. Pedro's in. Gives up a single. Celestin down. A 2-0 lead has turned into a 6-2 deficit. The Athletics offense needs to find its groove. And it doesn't. Solo shot for Drew Jones. 7-2. Vladdy walks. Ray singles. Vladdy over to third. Guanipa down. Raffaello with a 3-run shot. It's not over yet. Ceddanne Raffaello finally shows up. It's 7-5. Steer goes down. Miller goes down. But there is life for the A's. Elez is in a bit of trouble here. Do you trust or do you swap him out? What do you do, chat? Big time decision here. Big time. Frank, you know the rules. It's keep or name who you want. Shouts for Santos. Going once for Gregory Santos. Twice. And sold. Santos. Can he bail him out? Yes, he can. Bottom of the eighth. Marcelo Sandoval brought on for Detroit. Lux leadoff single. Sposato down. Well, technically fielder's choice. Soto down. Vladdy down. That's rough. Leadoff double for Whitaker. Jones makes it 8-5. Emerson makes it 9-5. Yikes. Well, chat, where do you go from here? 2 runs was already 2 runs too many. Another run to make it 5. I don't think it matters. That's fair. Leave him. It's over. Ballesteros down. Anderson down. 2-run shot for Thomas. 11-5. Wow. The Detroit Tigers have swept the Vancouver Athletics in a shocking loss. 1 win away last year from a World Series. They do very well against the Blue Jays and then allow 23 runs in 3 games. Wow. To be fair, they were the 2 seed. To be fair, they had 1 more win than you in the regular season. You know? It was 2 very good teams. The Athletics shit the bed again. I don't think there's a way to sweeten it, Frank. I don't think there is. Richie Christensen did not pitch like a guy that you might be confident in giving that massive backloaded contract to starting next year. Jim David, really good 7 innings. Yuri Perez, good first start, very bad second start. Avi and Howie never got a chance. Clyde Floyd, not great. Harmon, not great. Baroa never got a chance. Menard did well in his 1 inning. Ponce, not so much. Eliz, Santos got obliterated. And Derek Hope did well. Lineup-wise, Sposato was good. Gavin Lux was okay. Vladdy was good. Juan Soto was good. It's like you can only have one or the other. It's either Soto shows up or the pitching shows up. One or the other. Rafaela ended up doing well by the end of it. Spencer Steer was a no-show. Luis Toribio was a no-show. Aiden Miller, not great by his standards. I know he had the same average as Gavin Lux, but obviously one's a 78, one's a 91. William Dalton didn't show up. Tyrone Ray had a great series. Horton never got a chance. Guanipa sucked. Like I said, there's really no way to sugarcoat that. That is the 3rd straight choke job by the Athletics. You can't sugarcoat it. That is a brutal loss, especially with some of the big changes coming up in this upcoming offseason now.